All right, everybody, we're so excited. Welcome to the Pure 21 podcast. Today we are talking about the skinny on clean eating, and we are joined by Registered Dietitian Melanie Lipps. Melanie, so awesome to have you in here with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
I just want to let you guys know I am a registered and licensed dietitian. I have my undergrad from Ohio State in medical dietetics and a master's in sports nutrition from Florida State. I've been in the field practicing for over 20 years. I've done anything from weight loss to weight gain to sports nutrition to being a college professor.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so what do you love most about your job?
Helping people and making changes.
Well, thank you for joining us. Let's get right into it. Okay. So Pure 21 is basically clean eating. I mean, if you're following the guide. So explain clean eating to us.
The easiest way I feel like to say clean eating is to be as whole as possible. You want to try to get everything, foods that are better for you, that are whole, that are not processed, right? Because things are going to affect you in different ways. You want to really eat the whole foods, not processed, not refined.
Okay, so give me some examples of whole foods.
You want to eat an orange instead of drinking orange juice.
Right.
Right? You want to eat chicken instead of eating chicken nuggets.
Well, yeah, I got it. So as basic as we can be. And what's good about that? Why not the orange juice? Why the orange?
A couple reasons. One, you're going to see an increase in blood sugar if you're to do something like the orange juice. It's going to give you that rush, right? In that sense, it's fructose. It's that sugar that's in there. So it's going to spike that blood sugar, and then it'll come crashing down. With more fiber in the orange, it's going to last longer and keep your blood sugar steady. I think the biggest thing is that you want to have things that aren't processed, that aren't refined, because then they have all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that our body's going to absorb and process better when it's a whole food.
Awesome. Okay. For people that they have a busy life, what are some kind of clean eating tips that you could give?
Big thing, and this would go for anybody, preparing and packing foods, right? You want to prep either on the weekend or a couple days a week, cut up your fruits, cut up your vegetables, cook some chicken, cook some other products that you have, cook your veggies. So then that everything's ready to go, making sure you always have fruit and veggies on hand. The world has become very convenience-based.
Right.
So there's a lot you can do. You can even buy some of that stuff at the grocery store that's already prepped and cut, and so it's fresh, ready to go for you to grab.
What are some of your favorites? Like what's in your purse when you're running out? Because you have 4 kids.
I do. I think a big thing is portioning things out like nuts. So you want to have your cashews, your almonds. A trail mix is huge. I actually make it all the time for my kids as their snack.
Okay, right? What's in your trail mix? What's in your favorite?
There is sunflower seeds. They're for depending on the child, rice Chex or peanut butter Cheerios, and I will put in a tablespoon of mini M&Ms. Okay. I want my kids to know that you can have some of everything as long as you don't come home with the bag without having everything eaten but the M&Ms.
Okay, so say we're doing like the best fruit. I mean, all fruits are good, all veggies are good, but are there some that are better than others?
There are.
Okay.
I think you kind of look at, there's this thing called the Dirty Dozen, and the reason you see that is because it has pesticides in it. So I'm just going to give you a quick list of what's on the Dirty Dozen as of recent, right, of 2021. Strawberries, spinach, kale, collard greens, nectarines, apples, grapes, cherries, peaches, pears, bell and hot peppers, celery, and tomatoes. And I want those are ones that if you're going to go organic, that's where you want to start because those will have more pesticides on it.
Got it. Okay, well, I did not know that. I'm going to take down this Dirty Dozen list for sure.
And I want to tell you, Susan, on the flip side, there's the Clean 15. So that is produce that is least likely to be contaminated. So if you're not choosing organic because it is more costly, that's a list that you're kind of looking at. It's okay to not go organic because they're going to have less contamination.
Got it. That is very good advice. Thank you. All right. So what are some easy ways to incorporate more fruits and vegetables? I'm good at the fruit, but I'm going to tell you, I am bad at adding the veggies. I'm not good at it. What are some tips? Can you help me?
Yes, I definitely can. And I think it's easier for people who have kids to do a lot of fruit because you're going to give it to the kids. But then we need to take it for ourselves. But on the flip side, looking at veggies, salads, colorful salads, the brighter the better. Stay away from iceberg It's mainly
Yes.
water, right?
Right. There's no point of it, right?
Right. Eat the greens. Eat your dark greens. An easy way to do that too, throw into a smoothie. I know sometimes people think that's so gross.
You cannot taste kale in a smoothie.
Correct.
Yeah.
Kale, spinach, super greens. There's so much out there now that are just like super greens that you can then are already packaged. You throw it into the smoothie.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. What do you feel about super greens?
Oh, easy to throw. It's
Okay.
an easy thing for salad and or for a smoothie, right? So it may turn your smoothie green, but you're not going to taste it. You're going to have...
It's a lot easier to get all your vitamins and minerals through that, the scoop of the super greens, than...
Right.
Yeah.
You can do a scoop of super greens. You can also do like the super greens as like a lettuce or a salad that you can throw in as well. Again, the meal prepping things ahead of time. Prep your veggies, cut up your peppers, have carrots ready, have things baggied out. Obviously, fresh is best, but you can buy frozen or canned. Better to have things on hand. Making sure you're adding in, and I know you harped on vegetables, adding those into your snacks.
Okay.
Not everybody wants to eat carrot sticks. I get it.
Right.
But pair it with something. Some people will eat carrots with peanut butter or almond butter.
Yeah.
Hummus.
Yeah, I'm a hummus
dip,
person.
something that you can put it in. A big thing, I think, to get in veggies especially, think of a dinner plate or a lunch plate. Aim for half of it to be from your veggies.
Okay.
Right? You do half of it. The other half is split into protein and starch. But trying to get as much as you can to get all those vitamins and minerals in.
Okay. That's awesome advice. Now, we kind of skipped over this, my fault. What does this do for your body to eat clean? So why do we want to be eating clean? What's the science behind it?
We're really trying to nourish our bodies, right? You want to have regular meals, regular snacks. So that way you're trying to give yourself all those vitamins and minerals. Our body absorbs more from the actual food than it would from a supplement, right?
Okay.
So our body will get more from that. You see that push towards plant-based, right? And I think that goes into the real food, the whole food. And you can do that. And you can still have your meat. You can still have your protein,
Right.
but you can get it from plant-based as well. There's a lot more out there now that's plant-based. It's developing, honestly, on the daily. I feel like you see more and more things pop up. Just because it's plant-based doesn't mean it's like super healthy though either.
That's true. That's a good point.
There are things to caution with that. And I think another thing with clean eating, you can't forget exercise. It is a big part of what we're doing, right? You can eat healthy, but then if you're not moving, you're also losing some stuff right there too, right? So we want to make sure you're getting physical activity and you want to make sure you're sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night. I know that's a big number.
Right. But why? What's the science behind that?
Right? Our body needs to rest.
Yeah.
We need to shut down our brains. We need to get that sleep and recharge to rejuvenate for the next day, right? I'm guilty. I couldn't tell you the last time I probably got 7 to 9 hours, maybe on the weekends, but I'm on the go, and I think a lot of people are, but it's making that a priority and getting to bed earlier at night. Another thing with sleep is helping with stress. Right? Because we want to find those ways, whether you do the calming meditation before bed, in the morning. We just need that recharge, and that'll keep numbers down in terms of your blood pressure, your cholesterol, blood sugar.
So sleep helps with all this.
Correct.
That is a big problem for, a majority of Americans.
Correct. Exactly. We're in a very on-the-go society, and we're very stressed.
Right.
So if we can incorporate sleep and exercise, all that's going to help with numbers.
Exercise is my stress reliever for sure. Sometimes I don't want to do it, but it always helps. Okay, let's talk processed food. What are the risks with processed food? It's linked to heart issues. They have more sugar.
They do. When you're looking at processed foods, it's been obviously put through a process. So you're adding things in.
What would be like a processed food that is disguised as like a healthy food?
Well, I think, and I'm going to just go even more blank than that.
Okay.
Going to like white bread. And I think people think about that.
It reminds me of those Wonder Bread commercials.
Yes, or when people I used to eat peanut butter and jelly and it sticks to the roof of my mouth because you're eating white bread. But really you don't want those additives. You don't want things added in. So when they're processing things, you're either adding starch in, you're adding sugar in, you're adding sodium.
So how hard is it for our body to break down these additives? That's why we want to stay away, right?
Right. Yes. Our body can't process those. And that's why you want to get back to that whole food because you can't break things down.
So if your body can't process it, what happens then? Does it turn to
it's going to hold on to your body, right? It can turn to fat. It can turn into sugar. Again, there go your...
What we don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
There go your blood sugar numbers, right? There can go your cholesterol. So we just want to make sure we're mindful of what we're doing, right? You want to make sure you're getting in things that aren't processed, things that haven't been added. which is in a sense a problem with a convenience-based society because everything does go that direction.
Well, it is much cheaper to get a little cheeseburger than to go and make yourself a salad and buy it at Whole Foods or wherever you want to buy it.
Right, and I think
which sucks.
It does, and it's frustrating, but that's where if we're planning ahead and prepping, and or I think that is where stores have gone to the correct end of they are prepping some of those things for you that you can grab and go so you can make healthier choices. Another thing is looking at labels, and people don't think about, they know they should look at labels, but they don't know what to look for.
Okay, that's why you're here to help us.
Yes.
All right, what are we looking for?
You want to be able to read the ingredients and know what they say. When things are broken down or it's a long list, right? If you're looking at something, I'm going to give you an example just with even a nut butter or peanut butter. If you look at the label, you really want to see that it's peanuts.
Okay.
You don't want everything else added in because then that's where those additives come from, where that processing comes from. So you want to make sure the smaller list, the better. And when you look at a label, like the first 5 things that are listed is in order of what's in that product. So when you look at something and high fructose corn syrup is one of the first few, not a go.
Well, and I'm not sure everybody knows this, but in the ingredients, the largest percentage is always first, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's what, it's not just an alphabetical list. It is like water is first, peanuts are second. Like what we want to make sure what's at the top is solid.
Exactly. You want to make sure you're looking at that, and then again, you can really read it, right? Because if you look at the labels, you're going to have the process. You have more calories, more fat, more sugar, more salt, right? More additives in there, and there's so many to look out for. You know, there was stuff in the media about the trans fat. Like that was a big thing that was pushed to avoid. So I think that's something you have to still look at, right? We don't want the food coloring. We don't want those other additives put in there.
Okay. Couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap this up because this has been awesome. When I'm cooking and I'm trying to eat clean, what are some things to avoid? Like, what are some tips?
I think a big thing is making sure you're cooking with the right oil. If you're cooking with your olive oil, right, not pouring and saturating the pan, but cooking with a little bit, you need to have some because you do need that healthy fat. So you want to stick with those healthier fats, right, and the avoiding vegetable oils and margarine, things that you don't want to do. And kind of looking at some of that, those are where you can make those substitutions and a lot of things to add in those good fats.
Awesome. Okay. What are some things that we haven't covered that you're like, if I want to teach somebody about clean eating, I definitely want them to walk away with this?
Start simple.
Okay.
I think that's the thing. We try to make things too complicated and set ourselves up for failure. And for me as a dietitian, I want to set people up for success. Small, simple goals so they can achieve them, right? This is like a 5K, not a marathon, right? We need to give it time. Things don't happen overnight, so we need to give ourselves that time to do it. Start with the whole foods that you know that you like. Gradually add in those new things. You know, You might like apples, oranges, and bananas.
That's me.
Then add in your strawberries, your berries, other things. They'll be great in those smoothies. Throw it on top of a salad. But again, bottom line, start simple. And I think to know that no one's perfect. Things are going to happen. There are mess ups. There are slip ups. But that doesn't mean you have to fully reset. You have something bad, move on. Keep going.
Well, that's just like being on the Pure 21 challenge. You're trying to stick to it. You're trying to stick to it. If you stray for, one thing, you accidentally have a cookie, it's not over. You need to just get back on the bandwagon because your day is better that day than it was last week when you're just doing whatever you wanted, right?
Right, because a week ago you probably would have had the whole sleeve of cookies.
If it's Girl Scout. Yeah.
So I think people don't think about that. You don't throw the towel in just because you have one slip up. You're human. Like things happen and that's okay.
And preparation is key.
Hugely key. Like that is probably the biggest thing. Prepare, try things new, but yes, prepare.
All right, we're on it. We're going to go prepare. Melanie, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, your expertise, and I'm excited about our next podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.